I do not think that this is the last time we are going to see Mohg in Elden Ring. I think he's coming back as a boss in future DLCs. It's going to be revealed that he's actually still alive, and I've got 5 reasons for thinking this. It's not just wishful thinking. I've got 5 reasons for thinking this that I'm going to share in this video. But I think Mohg is the coolest boss in Elden Ring. Thematically, his sort of like Blood Lord appearance looks insane. I like his character design. I like his armor design. I like his weapon. I like the backstory between him and Morgott being the both, you know, like an evil twin and a good twin. And I like the fact that he's trying to set up this dynasty based on blood. I think he's really cool, and I think he's coming back to Elden Ring in the future, and here's why. First of all, get the most obvious one out of the way. His projection magic that is in the subterranean Shunning Grounds, Guard and the Frenzied Flame, actually survives the defeat that he suffers in the mausoleum. So if you kill Mohg in his mausoleum and go to the subterranean Shunning Grounds, he will still appear. But the same isn't true for Margit. If you beat Morgott in the Leyendell capital and then come back to Stormveil Castle, Margit actually won't appear to fight you because you've killed Morgott. There have been other attempts to explain this away that I've seen on Reddit, the idea that maybe Mohg has put some kind of like rune or some kind of more permanent projection spell down in the subterranean Shunning Grounds to protect the Frenzied Flames. It's not clear why, but one reason or one plausible interpretation of this, I think, is that Mohg just survives. He's still alive. He is still somewhere else and still wants to protect the Frenzied Flame. My next reason for thinking that Mohg is still alive is the fact that his entrance is a projection-like entrance. Projection magic or summon magic or, you know, astral magic, whatever you want to call it in Elden Ring, it's quite common. And Mohg's primary entrance here, you know, materializing from a pool of blood, is quite similar to the entrances that other projections make that we know of. One clear example of this is, again, Margit at Stormveil Castle. I mean, he just materializes out of thin air to challenge the player. Next, we got Golden Godfrey. Godfrey's golden projection also materializes out of thin air. One minute you're just running up, next minute he just arrives. And then Mohg's own projection as well. Even if you don't think he's still alive, you have to accept that this is a projection. This also materializes out of thin air. It looks like he arrives out of a swarm of bloods, but if you contrast this with the main encounter with Morgott's just stood on the steps waiting for the Tarnish to arrive, and then Godfrey, who had previously summoned a golden projection, is again just stood here waiting. So on these 2 occasions, we know that we're fighting the real version of the boss, because they're actually there when we already arrived. You know, Godfrey doesn't materialize out of nothing. He doesn't just arrive. He doesn't teleport in. He's just stood there, and so is Morgott. My next reason for thinking that Mohg is still alive is that he tells Miquella that he needs to abide alone a while. And I just think this is a really unusual choice of words for him to use. I mean, this is supposed to be Mohg's house, right? And he's right there. We literally see him holding his hand. So why would he tell him that he needs to be alone for a while? In my mind, one interpretation of this is that Mohg actually isn't there, and he's literally just summoning this very, very powerful projection to defend Miquella from you in the same way that he defends the Frenzied Flame from you as well, or rather, stops you from getting to the Frenzied Flame. Another reason, number 4, is that Mohg doesn't shrink up like Morgott does. After you beat Morgott, you can find his sort of weathered body on the floor, kind of suggesting that the large horned omen creature was also another form of projection magic that he wrapped around himself to make himself stronger. But when you beat Mohg, Mohg just dissipates, he just disappears. And finally, I think that Miquella's quest isn't finished. This is a really popular opinion. I mean, this is kind of put here as DLC bait, really. You know, Miquella is supposed to be the strongest Empyrean out of all of them. Even Melania says that Miquella is terrifying, and all we see of Miquella really is this pand hanging out of this egg cocoon. I mean, I called it a mushroom in one of my lore videos, but I think this is one other big reason for thinking that Mohg's still around. Mohg is an integral part of Miquella's quest. Miquella's quest isn't done, so I'm inclined to think that Mohg's still around as well. Now, one counter argument to everything that I'm saying is that you get Mohg's Great Rune and his remembrance when you kill him. And this is true. But you also get Renala's remembrance and Renala's Great Rune when you beat her as well. and she survives. Both her and Rani survive this fight, so there's a precedent in the game for bosses surviving fights but still giving you their Great Rune and their remembrance. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. Even if this isn't true, I hope that Mohg comes back in the future, because like I said, he's kind of my favourite boss. But let me know in the comment section if you have any counter arguments or anything else to add on top. Cheers.